I mean, they certainly didn't seem to love our country very much.
For the record, the Constitution defines treason as an act of levying war against the United States or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. Sitting silently is not treason. In other words, attempting to overthrow the government by teaming up with the enemy.
Steve Bannon knows all about that word, treason. The president's comments met with a blunt rebuttal from Democrats like Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse.
Maybe he's been watching too much North Korean television, where everybody in the North Korean assembly stands up and they all clap together automatically whenever the dear leader says something. That's not the way America works.
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth added to that sentiment, quote, "We don't live in a dictatorship or a monarchy. I swore an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, not to mindlessly cater to the whims of Cadet Bone Spurs and clap when he demands I clap."
All right, in less than 72 hours, the federal government runs out of money. Yay! House Republicans planning to vote today on another short-term spending bill that keeps everything running through March 23rd. Now, the measure has a sweetener attached, 1 full year of defense spending. Republicans believe that gives them a chance to push the bill through without help from Democrats, but it has little chance of passing the Senate.
And immigration reform remains in flux. Senators supposed to debate and vote on major immigration legislation for the first time in years, but Republican leader Mitch McConnell has been silent, and members of both parties say they have no idea what he's planning. The White House has rejected the latest bipartisan effort from Senators Chris Coons and John McCain to protect dreamers and improve infrastructure and technology at the border. Pennsylvania's congressional maps likely headed for a makeover. The U.S. Supreme Court rejecting a request from state Republicans. They wanted the justices to block a lower court ruling that ordered the state's congressional maps redrawn. Currently, Republicans hold 12 of Pennsylvania's 18 seats. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court earlier ruled Republicans illegally sought partisan advantage over Democrats in drawing the maps. GOP leaders say they may pursue further legal action. The ruling could have a significant impact on the 2018 midterm elections, where GOP control of the House is on the line.
All right. Colorado's governor says enough is enough after the third fatal shooting of a police officer in 6 weeks. Now another widow and 7-year-old twins are left in mourning.
My name is Jeff Sheldon, and I'm the founder of UpMonk. Before ShipStation, it was crazy. Like, it's great when you see, 100 orders come in, but then you realize I got 100 orders that I actually have to ship out. ShipStation streamlined that whole process. The order data, the weights of the items, everything is seamlessly put into ShipStation. So when we print the shipping label, everything's pretty much done. It's so much easier. So now we're ready, bring on the orders.
ShipStation, the #1 choice of online sellers. Go to shipstation.com/TV and get 2 months free.
Hi, Phil Swift here for Flex Glue, the super strong rubberized glue. Flex Glue's a powerful adhesive with amazing instant grab. It locks into place and it holds on tight. Flex Glue acts like a magnet. Even this heavy brick is gonna stick. And our Pro formula has even more instant grab, so you can tackle the biggest jobs. Now there's Flex Glue for everything you do. With Flex Glue, you don't need screws or nails, making it perfect for all types of repairs. Not only does Flex Glue have amazing instant grab, but it actually gets stronger over time. And once it reaches maximum strength, Flex Glue can easily lift over 1,000 pounds. Indoor and outdoor projects, virtually any material in all conditions. Wood, glass, tile, and metal, Flex Glue is so strong, it even works underwater. So you can apply Flex Glue underwater, and it even dries underwater. This rubberized adhesive is UV resistant and totally waterproof. To show you the power of Flex Glue, we took all these parts and Flex glued them together and built the Flex Glue Monster 4x4. Slamming into giant logs and rocks, Flex Glue's powerful bond withstands the shocks and holds this beast together. Now any project big or small, with Flex Glue, you can do them all. You can get Flex Glue plus a handy size of either Flex Seal, Flex Shot, or Flex Tape for just $19.99. Call now.
A businessman consumed with power, a family obsessed with winning, and a dynasty destined for the presidency.
The Kennedys premieres Sunday, March 11th at 9 on CNN.
Years in the sun causing dark spots? Gold Bond Dark Spot Minimizing Cream helps fade their look with a targeted skin tone evening complex. 81% saw improvement in the appearance of sun-damaged skin. Gold Bond for dark spots in the body lotion aisle.
What is your lotion wish?
I want coconut oil,
cocoa butter, shea butter.
And no more reapplying. We listened. New Gold Bond Radiance Renewal gently exfoliates, then our triple blend of moisturizers helps prevent dry skin all day. New Gold Bond Radiance Renewal.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. That means many of the future doctors who will care for us, the engineers who will build our cities, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country can be your kids. We all know how hard it is for you to send them to college. This is why we want you to know you are not alone. And every day, more people support you to make it happen. Many support you. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education. Learn more at hsf.net.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Closed captioning brought to you by InventHelp. Call 1-800-900-0202.
Do you have an idea for an invention or new product? Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Then call InventHelp now for free information.
A sheriff's deputy has died and 3 other officers were wounded in a shooting Monday in Colorado Springs. Authorities say they were trying to detain a car theft suspect when a struggle ensued and shots were fired. 34-year-old deputy Micah Flick was killed on what was his 11th anniversary with the sheriff's office. He is survived by his wife and 7-year-old twins. The suspect also died in the gunfire. The deputy, the 3rd Colorado officer to be shot and killed since New Year's Eve. Governor John Hickenlooper said in a statement, people must come together and say enough is enough.
Actor Robert Wagner remains a person of interest in the 1981 death of his wife, actress Natalie Wood. Wagner has declined to speak with investigators since they reopened the case 7 years ago. While he's not obligated to submit to an interview, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department does want to hear from him.
The version of events he's portrayed in the media, I think, we told us the original investigators really don't add up to what we found.
CNN's calls to Wagner's representative were not immediately returned.
Wood drowned in November 1981 while boating off Southern California with Wagner and friend Christopher Walken. She was 43 years old at the time. In 2012, the LA coroner changed Wood's cause of death from accidental to undetermined.
Disgraced former USA Gymnastics Dr. Larry Nassar sentenced one final time for decades of sexually abusing girls and young women. Nassar received an additional 40 to 125 years in prison. At a hearing in Eaton County, Michigan Monday, Nassar apologized, saying victim statements had, quote, impacted me to my innermost core, while acknowledging that pales in comparison to the pain of his victims.
The judge, citing Nassar's earlier claims of no wrongdoing, sentenced him to another lengthy prison term, saying he was in denial.
You will be left to sit there with only the memories of destroying your own family. And I do not believe that you will have the ability to shut out the words of the children and the young women and the adults who trusted you and who you let down. That will be your lifetime consequence.
The Eaton County sentence will run concurrently with a 40 to 175-year sentence handed down in Ingham County, Michigan. Nassar will serve those sentences after a separate 60-year sentence in federal prison for child pornography. And this story is not over because there's a lot of investigation now into how many adults and how many people in law enforcement were warned, sometimes beseeching from parents and some of these young women saying something is wrong here.
Yeah.
And nothing happened.
Yeah, it looks like there was abuse going on at the time the FBI knew
That's right.
of some of these allegations. Well, the suspected drunk driver who killed Indianapolis Colts linebacker Edwin Jackson and another man early Sunday morning is a twice-deported undocumented immigrant. Police say Manuel Orega Zavala, a citizen of Guatemala, is in the U.S. illegally after being deported in 2007 and again in 2009. Immigration officials say he was previously convicted of driving under the influence in Redwood City, California. Authorities say Jackson was a passenger for a ride-sharing operator identified as 54-year-old Jeffrey Monroe. Both men were standing outside the vehicle when they were struck.
It's a tragedy.
It is indeed. All right, on the flip side of that NFL news, Philadelphia will honor Super Bowl champion Eagles with the parade on Thursday. It's expected to start around 11 a.m. The Victory Parade route begins in South Philadelphia near Lincoln Financial Field and ends at the iconic Philadelphia Art Museum. City officials expected to announce more details this morning. All Philadelphia school districts and administrative offices will be closed Thursday. The school superintendent in a statement reminding students that everyone should be in school on time and ready to learn on Friday. Congratulations to everyone still celebrating in Philly.
All right, 49 minutes past the hour. Fans across the country remembering veteran actor John Mahoney, who died Sunday. He's best known for playing the curmudgeonly and sharp-witted father in the classic comedy series Frasier.
I accidentally stain your carpet, and you set fire to the one thing in this apartment I care about, and heave it out into the street. I'll tell you what, the healthiest thing you can do right now. Want to know the healthiest thing you can do? Shut my yap. Bingo!
He starred on screen and on stage. You know, he was an ensemble member of the Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago for 39 years. His publicist says he died following a brief illness. John Mahoney was 77 years old. All right, 50 minutes past the hour. The Dow had its single biggest point decline ever, shedding, get this, 1,175 points, just under 5%. Is it going to continue today? CNN Money Stream next.
When you rent a car on Turo, you're renting from a real person. No shuttle rides, no waiting in line, and no wandering a car lot. This is your rental counter. And this is you, already on the road. With Turo, this is compact, standard, and full size. This isn't your typical car rental. This is Turo. Download the app today.
Vacation rentals? Search Home to Go Florida from $64, California from $69, New York from $62. The world's largest vacation rental search engine. Go to Home to Go now and save up to 60%.
Home to Go.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned.
Call or go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code and save over 50% with Mike's 4-pack. You'll get 2 MyPillow Premiums and 2 Go Anywhere pillows. It's one of his best offers ever. Order now.
With our 60-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Sleep well, America!
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Introducing a breakthrough in hearing aid technology, presenting the all-new Eargo Plus, the world's smallest, most comfortable rechargeable hearing aid, designed with patented flexifibers so they're suspended completely inside the ear canal, and so small that they're virtually invisible. The kind of invisibility hearing aid wearers have been looking for. If you could look for invisibility, that is, which you can't. Or, I guess you can, but you won't find it. Well, because it's invisible. You know, anyway. The point is, most people probably won't even know you're wearing them, and they're so comfortable, you might forget you're wearing them yourself. Eargo Plus is also rechargeable, so there's no need to replace batteries, because there's nothing more frustrating than those tiny hearing aid batteries. Or there probably is, but we just can't think of it right now. And our advanced noise reduction technology reduces background noise. Don't wait. Call or go online now to get your free sample pair today, and try the hearing aid PC magazine called Tiny, Comfortable, and Nearly Invisible. Eargo. Hear life to the fullest.
Luxury. The Jewelry Exchange has these rare 10-carat diamond studs for $59,000. 13-carat custom tennis bracelet, $13,000. 5-carat VS1 Asher is $79,000. Plus thousands of GIA diamonds guaranteed the lowest price. The Jewelry Exchange Direct.
She was the victim of the most bizarre kidnapping in American history. Was she a hostage? Or was she a terrorist? The radical story of Patty Hearst premieres Sunday at 9 on CNN.
Show me the Olympic winter games like I've never seen before. Xfinity X1, yeah, I always know the score. Medal count updates, keep up with the standings. My boy Red Gerard always sticks to landing. Streaming live on every screen, every medal, every slope. Hockey hair never looked so dope. Triple cork, so majestic in 4K resolution. Skier spinning, rewind, count the revolutions. Alpine, freestyle, dang, what's next? What? Amazing outfits, sequence and spandex. You like curling? Daily highlights, keep you up to date. We start a live broadcast when you're running kinda late. 2,000 hours of coverage, get your mind blown. 50 Olympic channels, yep, you're in the zone. And if there's something that you wanna see, pick up that voice remote and just say, show me. Whoa. Experience NBC Universal's coverage of the Olympic Winter Games like never before with Xfinity, a proud partner of Team USA.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Let's get a check on CNN Money Stream this morning. The stock market sell-off is not over yet. Global stocks are jittery after Wall Street's epic plunge. Markets in Tokyo, Hong Kong, all down. Europe opened a couple hours ago. Europe is lower as well, but look at Dow futures on your screen. They're up a little bit. They popped higher. Overnight, they had been down 700 points, so it gives you a sense of just how kind of volatile it is right now. The Dow is now down about 8.5% from its all-time high. More details at the top of the hour. Lululemon's CEO has resigned after the company claims he fell short of its standards of conduct. It did not specify exactly how he fell short, only that it expects all employees to exemplify the highest levels of integrity and respect. Lululemon did not respond to a request for further comment. The CEO has run Lululemon there since 2014. Google's Waymo and Uber finally have their day in court, and the result could shape the future of self-driving cars. It's been 1 year since Waymo accused Uber of stealing autonomous vehicle technology. It claims Uber cheated to get ahead in the self-driving car race. Uber denies the accusation, calling it a conspiracy theory. The trial expected to take 2 weeks.
Vice President Mike Pence en route to Asia right now for the Winter Olympics. Overnight, the vice president did not rule out a meeting with North Korean officials, but also says he plans to tell the truth about North Korea at every stop. Meantime, new trouble for Olympic officials with just 3 days to the opening ceremony. They've pulled more than 1,200 security guards after they all came down with the virus. For the latest, let's turn to Ivan Watson live in Pyeongchang. Good evening to you, Ivan.
Yeah, good morning, Dave. That's right. The Vice President, Mike Pence, he's making stops on his way to the opening ceremony here in Pyeongchang, which is in just a few days' time. And he's making it clear that the theme of his trip is to try to continue to put pressure on the North Korean regime, even though it has agreed to last-minute diplomacy with South Korea and has agreed to send quite a large delegation to these Winter Olympics here. He wants to highlight the dismal human rights record in North Korea. He's bringing along the grieving father of the U.S. university student Otto Warmbier, who died in a coma, died of brain damage after being held in detention in North Korea for more than a year. But curiously, Vice President Pence seemed to leave the door open to the possibility of talks, though the U.S. side has made it clear that there are no requests for any kind of sit-down meeting here in Pyeongchang. As Pence makes his way here, the North Koreans are arriving in large numbers. Not only some 22 athletes who are already in training here, but a ferry boat just arrived carrying a 140-member art troupe on the South Korean coast. They were met by anti-North Korean protesters from South Korea, some of them holding up signs of the portrait of the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un, with his face crossed out in black. There's another large delegation arriving tomorrow by land that's going to include more than 200 cheerleaders and a taekwondo demonstration team. North Korean state media continuing its real insulting criticism of President Trump himself, calling him an old lunatic and rejecting criticism he's made of North Korea's human rights record. Meanwhile, an unexpected hiccup here in Pyeongchang. Authorities here say that there's been an outbreak of this norovirus, also known as winter vomiting bug. 41 guards came down with it, acute diarrhea and nausea. They've had to swap out some 1,200 guards and bring in 900 more and begin disinfecting buses, accommodations, and sporting facilities to try to stop its spread. Dave?
Yikes. All right, we also learned Ivanka Trump will head to Pyeongchang for the closing ceremony. Ivan Watson live for 7 p.m. there. Early Start continues right now with the latest on the markets and where we're headed today.
Very likely simply the ebb and flow of our stock markets.
The White House attempts to ease jitters after a record sell-off on Wall Street. The gains of 2018 vanish. A remarkable split screen as the president touts the strong economy in Ohio. 4.5 hours until the opening bell. Global markets are open and they are down.
The president's lawyer is reportedly concerned he could incriminate himself if he's interviewed by the Russia special counsel. Now they're trying to sway him against a sit down with Robert Mueller.
Somebody said treasonous. I mean, yeah, I guess why not?
The president compares Democrats with people trying to overthrow the government, all because they wouldn't stand to applaud him during the State of the Union. Good morning and welcome to Early Start. I'm Christine Romans. I'm glad you're back.
Good to be back. The president says Democrats are treasonous and he's not braggadocious.
Okay, words matter.
Let that marinate. I'm Dave Briggs. It's Tuesday, February 6th. It's 5 a.m. in the East. We start with, of course, the markets, folks. Investor concerns not quieting. Not just yet. After Monday's epic sell-off on Wall Street, the Dow with its biggest single-day point loss ever. Overnight's markets abroad were jittery. Futures on Wall Street, though, now rebounding after falling sharply overnight. We always have our chief financial correspondent, Christine Romans, here to explain what is happening. And, Christine, how long this could last.
You know, well, it's continuing this morning overseas. So let's talk about what's happening. When you look at world markets, they are open. They've been open for a few hours, and it's rippling around the globe here. Markets in Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai, all down. Europe opened a couple of hours ago. About a 2% loss there in Frankfurt. But Dow futures, they've turned lower again. So they had popped. They fell 700 points. Now they're lower. It just shows you how volatile this whole thing is here right now. Let's talk about what happened Monday. The Dow has lost more than 1,800 points over the past couple of days. Monday was brutal. It shed 1,175 points, 4.6%. That's actually a rebound from down here when it was 1,600 points lower, the biggest decline in history, point decline in history, and the Dow's worst day in 6.5 years. This wipes out all of the Dow's gains for the year. What was the problem here? What's going on? Well, a couple of things here. The jobs report Friday was a trigger. There was strong wage growth in there. Wage inflation is good for workers, but it's bad for corporate profits. And if inflation picks up too fast, Dave, the Federal Reserve may need to raise interest rates faster than planned. And the biggest concern here is this bond market sell-off. The bond market has been telling us for some time now that things are changing. Bond yields move opposite to price. They hit a 4-year high Friday as yields go up. Bonds offer better returns, making them much more attractive to investors than risky stocks. Now, even if you see a drop again today, there's no chance of a crash or a panic. Let's be careful about the words we're using here. This is a correction. Stocks haven't yet hit a 10% drop or a correction. This is a market that is long overdue for a pullback. And remember, the economy is still good here. The economy is strong. The job market is robust. Corporate earnings are on the rise. So what's happening here is the stock market isn't telling you the economy is bad. The stock market has been running up, and the bond market is adjusting to a new world of higher interest rates and a little bit of inflation.
The Dow still up 33% since Election Day. All right, let's talk about all of this. Joining us now live from Washington, political economist Greg Valliere, chief strategist for Horizon Investments. Good to see you, sir.
Morning.
All right, so where are we headed today?
Well, Christine nailed it. I think that the fundamentals are still good in this economy, but until the bond market stabilizes, Dave, we're going to still be in a period of real anxiety. Christine's right. Interest rates are moving higher. And how is this for an irony? The major reason interest rates are moving higher is that people worry the economy could overheat. There's so much stimulus, such a tight labor market, synchronized global growth. Maybe we're doing too much to stimulate the economy.
It's so interesting. Yesterday was Fed Chief Jerome Powell's first day on the job.
Yes, right.
Welcome to,
yeah, right.
you know, and this happens.
Yeah.
You know, if the economy is so strong that it's creating inflation for the first time in a long time, and the Fed has to start raising interest rates, does that work at counter purposes, cross purposes to what the president's trying to do with his tax cut stimulus?
Yeah, it does. It takes away the impact, some of the impact on the tax cut. Look, most Americans, not all, but most Americans and all corporations are going to have more money in their pockets. That's a good story that will lead to stronger growth. But when you've got a labor market this tight, Christine, as you know, with unemployment, I think, going below 4% soon, maybe we even get to 3.5% by Labor Day, that is bound to lead to wage inflation. And you talk to any central banker like Jerome Powell, and they'll tell you the toughest inflation to extract is wage inflation.
Greg, it's difficult to decouple the markets with the President of the United States because, of course, he has repeatedly, day after day, talked about the Dow as a measuring stick for the success of his presidency. Is this live by the sword, die by the sword?
Absolutely, and I think he is probably going to lie low and not talk very much about a sell-off. But, you know, some of this might be due to the fact that there's growing concern about instability in our own government. You know, do we get indictments from Mueller? Does he fire Rod Rosenstein? All of these things add to an uneasy background, with the addition of continued dysfunction on the budget, rising deficits, and now a fight over the debt ceiling that's got to be resolved within a month.
So you really think that, you know, government headlines are playing into some of the sentiment on Wall Street or in the markets? Because until now, the market just went up. Nobody cared about the Russia investigation in the investing world.
Well, he hinted, didn't he, late last week that he might fire Rosenstein? I mean, that could lead to a pretty dangerous environment where Washington became focused exclusively on this stuff and not a lot of other issues like the debt ceiling and a budget that still have to be addressed. One other real quick point. Some of this was technical. A lot of the professionals had program trading, electronic. You need a PhD to understand all this stuff. But the fact that technical trading drove this panic as we got well into the afternoon yesterday, that was a factor as well.
I don't have a PhD, but I do know that when you look at the moving averages of the S&P 500, that's the broadest sort of gauge of the stock market health, you're way beyond the 50-day and 200-day moving averages historically when you look at some of those standard deviations. So clearly this market had been going up, 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 up with no pause to refresh. I mean, when you look at the S&P, Greg, it had been a record amount of time without a 3% daily move in the S&P. It just went up. So I think it's not a surprise there's a correction, and we haven't even hit a correction yet. But what happens next?
You can't stay this frothy for this long. At some point, maybe starting today, who knows, bargain hunters will start to sniff an opportunity. But the main point, as you made earlier, is that the fundamental economy is still quite strong, ironically, maybe too strong for the bond market.
And that echoes exactly what Sarah Huckabee Sanders said yesterday. The fundamentals of this economy remain strong. Greg Valliere will check on with you again in about 30 minutes. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for coming in, Greg. President Trump's lawyers are urging him not to sit for an interview with special counsel Robert Mueller. The New York Times reporting this last night that the president's attorneys are concerned he might incriminate himself by making false statements. CNN reported last week the Trump legal team is arguing the special counsel's office has not met what it considers the high threshold for a face-to-face interview with the president. The president said last month that he is eager to speak with Mueller and willing to do so under oath.
This morning, the Democrats' memo pushing back against the Republican Nunes memo sits on the president's desk. Got all that? The House Intelligence Committee voted unanimously to release the Democrats' rebuttal to GOP claims the FBI abused surveillance laws. The president now has 5 days to decide whether to declassify this new memo, but Democrats raising concerns the president may play political games. For more, we turn to CNN's Pamela Brown at the White House.
Well, good morning, Christine and Dave. The House has now approved the Democrats' memo to come here to the White House, and now it is up to the president whether he will declassify it. It was truly a test of transparency, considering the justification for releasing the Nunes memo from the White House was transparency. And so it will be interesting to see how the White House handles this now that it has the Democrats' memo. A White House official says that the Democrats' memo will go through the exact same process as the Republicans' memo, it will be scrubbed. It will be reviewed by White House lawyers. But the question is, will there be any redactions? As you'll recall, there were no redactions on the Nunes memo from the White House. Now, Republicans on Capitol Hill said that's because they already made changes from the FBI's input before it ever came here to the White House. But Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat in the House Intelligence Committee, came out and said that he's concerned the White House will redact parts of the Democrats' memo for political purposes. So it remains to be seen what exactly will happen. But the president has 5 days to review the memo and make the decision on whether or not to declassify it. Back to you.
All right, Pamela, thank you so much. President Trump mocking Democrats for their stone-faced reactions to his State of the Union address. The president was discussing tax reform and the economy at a rally outside Cincinnati Monday when he said this about Democrats who refused to stand to acknowledge record low black unemployment during his State of the Union.
They would rather see Trump do badly, okay, than our country do well. That's what it means. It's very selfish. Even on positive news, really positive news like that, they were like death and un-American. Un-American. Somebody said treasonous. I mean, yeah, I guess why not? You know, can we call that treason? Why not? I mean, they certainly didn't seem to love our country very much.
Well, since he asked why not, here's why not. The Constitution defines treason as an act of levying war against the United States or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. In other words, attempting to overthrow the government by teaming up with the enemy.
Those comments met with a blunt rebuttal from Democrats like Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse.
Maybe he's been watching too much North Korean television, where everybody in the North Korean assembly stands up and they all clap together automatically whenever the dear leader says something. That's not the way America works.
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, a war veteran, said this: we don't live in a dictatorship or a monarchy. I swore an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, not to mindlessly cater to the whims of Cadet Bone Spurs and clap when he demands I clap.
A double amputee. The problem here for Republicans in Congress is they say we had the moral high ground here. Joe Manchin, a Democrat senator, was criticizing Democrats for not standing up. Now you gave away the moral high ground and the focus is on the word treason.
There's a long history, by the way, of people of the opposing party sitting there silently, stone-faced, or even, who was it who said, you lied to President
Mr.
Obama?
Wilson.
Right, so.
Yes.
All right.
All right, ahead, Colorado's governor says enough is enough after the third fatal shooting of a police officer in 6 weeks. Now another widow and 7-year-old twins are left in mourning.
New year, new phones for the family. Join T-Mobile, and when you buy one of the latest Samsung Galaxy phones, get a Samsung Galaxy S8 free.
Spectacular!
Plus, unlimited family plans come with Netflix included.
Hello, Aloe. Kelp is on the way with Herbal Essences. We said no, no, no to this stuff, and yes, yes, yes to BioRenew. Made with active antioxidants that work from the inside out to help animate lifeless hair and bring it back to life. Find ahs and oohs in every fresh bottle of Herbal Essences BioRenew. Let life in.
We believe in rock and roll. We believe in blasting it down the fairway, turning up the heat and the fun. At Del Webb, we believe in life well led, in your own beautiful, smartly designed home, in an active adult community with sushi eaters, artists, thrill seekers, and you. We believe you'll like it here.
Over the past 14 years, Dubai Healthcare City has grown to establish itself as a world-class health destination. We are building on 4 key pillars to create an ecosystem that covers not only health and well-being, but also training the doctors of the future, finding cures and improving living environments. We are proud to be creating an internationally recognized destination for health and well-being that, in the lead-up to the Expo 2020, strengthens Dubai's vision to become a sustainable and diverse city of the future.
A better back and a better body. Since 1981, that has been my passion. I created Teeter Hang-Ups so people could live healthier, more active lives. I know what it's like to have back pain. When I found Inversion, it changed my life forever, and I believe it can change yours. I am proud to present the newest and best Teeter Hang-Ups. Teeter is easy to use. Simply set it, lock it, recline, and relax. Just 3 to 5 minutes a day in your own home to help relieve back pain, relieve stress, improve posture, rejuvenate joint health, and build core strength.
The Teeter offers relief from back pain, naturally targeting the source of the ache by relaxing tense muscles and providing decompression that can help to restore the nutrients to the discs, reduce nerve pressure, and realign the spine.
I can get on it, hang upside down for 10 or 15 minutes, get up, and my back pain is gone. It's amazing.
Instantly, I was feeling the effects from it. My lower back was feeling better in the mornings, and I just kind of felt rejuvenated getting off it every day.
Medical and scientific studies around the world have shown the benefits of inversion, and over 2 million people have put their trust in Teeter for a better back and a better body. I'm over 72, and I feel great.
Teeter meets UL's tough consumer safety testing standard. No one else even comes close to Teeter quality and performance. Now you can try the latest Teeter in your home for 30 days for only $14.95 with free shipping. We'll also include 2 of our most popular accessories, which add acupressure massage and deepens the lumbar stretch. Plus, you'll receive the healthy back and core system. But that is not all. If you call now, we'll also upgrade your order to free expedited processing.
This thing is mine. You can't have it. It's one of my most valuable possessions. It really is.
Trust Teeter Hang-Ups for a better back, better body.
A sheriff's deputy has died and 3 other officers were wounded in a shooting Monday in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Authorities say they were trying to detain a car theft suspect when a struggle ensued and shots were fired. 34-year-old deputy Micah Flick was killed on what was his 11th anniversary with the sheriff's office. He's survived by his wife and 7-year-old twins. The suspect also died in the gunfire. The deputy is the 3rd Colorado officer to be shot and killed since New Year's Eve. Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper said in a statement, people must come together and say enough is enough.
Actor Robert Wagner remains a person of interest in the 1981 death of his wife, actress Natalie Wood. Wagner has declined to speak with investigators since they reopened this case 7 years ago. He is not obligated to submit to an interview, but the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department wants to hear from him.
The version of events he's portrayed in the media, I think, we told us the original investigators really don't add up to what we found.
CNN's calls to Wagner's rep were not immediately returned. Wood drowned in November 1981 while boating off Southern California with Wagner and friend Christopher Walken. In 2012, the L.A. coroner changed Wood's cause of death from accidental to undetermined.
Another legendary musician is ready to call it a career.
I wish I was homeward bound.
Singer-songwriter Paul Simon announcing Monday his upcoming tour of North America and Europe will be his last. In a message to fans, the 76-year-old Simon says it's unsettling, exhilarating, and a bit of a relief. He says touring takes away from time with his wife and family. Homeward Bound, the farewell tour, kicks off in Vancouver in May. It's going to wrap up in July in London. He's the latest among major artists saying they are retiring from the road. Elton John, Neil Diamond, Ozzy Osbourne, Leonard Skinner. He has been inducted into the Hall of Fame twice, once as a soloist and once as part of Simon & Garfunkel.
Aren't you always amazed at how their voices endure decades of singing? Ours rarely make it through 2 hours of television.
I know, it's really remarkable.
It's always
what a
incredible. Okay, fans across the country remembering veteran actor John Mahoney, who died Sunday. He's best known for playing the curmudgeonly and sharp-witted father in the classic comedy series Frasier.
I accidentally stain your carpet, and you set fire to the one thing in this apartment I care about, and heave it out into the street. I'll tell you what, the healthiest thing you can do right now. Want to know the healthiest thing you can do? Shut my yap. Bingo!
Oh, that's some good stuff. The actor starred on screen and on stage. Mahoney was an ensemble member of the Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago for 39 years. His publicist says he died following a brief illness. John Mahoney was 77 years old. Boy, was he funny. All right, millions of Philadelphia Eagles fans, including students, expected at Thursday's Super Bowl parade. Andy Scholes, all thawed out from Minneapolis, has more in the Bleacher Report next.
Running a business is not for the faint of heart. Luckily, Office Depot Office Max is here to take care of you.
Taking care of business.
With print services. Done right, on time, guaranteed. Expert tech support. And this week, all Office Depot brand paper is buy one, get one, 50% off. Plus, never run out with an Office Depot paper subscription. Subscribe today at OfficeDepot.com/subscriptions.
Taking care of business.
How do you win at business? Stay at La Quinta, where we're changing with stylish makeovers. Then, at your next meeting, set your seat height to its maximum level. Bravo, tall meeting man. Start winning today. Book now at LQ.com.
OfferUp is a new free app that shows you what people are selling nearby.
It's kind of like a game. Every day there are new surprises.
Come on, flat screen TV.
Oh, come on, dining room table.
Come on, sofa.
Yeah.
OfferUp is free to use. Find anything you want nearby.
What can a president do in 30 seconds? He can fire an FBI director who won't pledge his loyalty. He can order the deportation of 1 million immigrant children. He can threaten an unstable dictator armed with nuclear weapons. He can go into a rage and enter the nuclear launch codes. How bad does it have to get before Congress does something?
Be right there, baby. Sorry.
Unlike ordinary diapers, Pampers is the first and only diaper that distributes wetness evenly into 3 extra absorb channels. They stay up to 3 times drier, so babies can sleep soundly all night. Wishing you love, sleep, and play. Pampers.
It's time to pick a used car.
I really don't want to get ripped off.
Just start at Carfax.
Yeah, show me the Carfax.
Get the most accurate price based on a car's history.
Look at all the great deals.
Start your used car search at the all-new Carfax.com.
All right, I brought in high protein to help get us moving and help you feel more strength and energy in just 2 weeks. I'll take that.
Ensure high protein with 16 grams of protein and 4 grams of sugar. Ensure, always be you.
We want to thank you so much for coming. We're so happy.
Hi, we're here for the open house.
Who are they? Oh, those are not used. They also wanted this house. But you use Realtor.com. With more homes for sale updating in real time, you found it before these not used could. You know this is a housewarming, right?
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew that.
Thank you.
Knew that.
No. Find your dream home before not you finds it. Realtor.com.
You're a rich girl, and you're going too far, 'cause you know it don't matter anyway.
I'm a soldier in the People's Army.
The Radical Story of Patty Hearst premieres Sunday at 9 on CNN.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
We all want to know about the new thing. You know, the new thing? With Xfinity's retail stores, you can now see the latest. Want to test drive the latest devices? Be our guest. Want to save on mobile? Just ask. Want to demo the latest innovations and technology? Do it here. Come see how we're making things simple, easy, and awesome. Plus, come in today and ask about Xfinity Mobile, a new kind of network designed to save you money. Visit your local Xfinity store today.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
The Eagles receiving a hero's welcome as they return to the city with the franchise's first ever Super Bowl title.
Andy Scholes has more in the morning's Bleacher Report. Hey, Andy.
Hey, good morning, guys. Eagles fans, you know they've been waiting their entire lives to celebrate a Super Bowl title, and they're certainly making the most of it. Thousands of fans greeting the team at the airport yesterday as they arrived home with the Lombardi Trophy. The championship parade is scheduled for Thursday through downtown Philly starting at 11 a.m. It's going to end at the Art Museum on the famous Rocky Steps. School canceled, so there should be lots of fans out there. Before the season, lineman Lane Johnson and Bud Light, they promised free beer for everyone if the team won the Super Bowl. Well, they're delivering. Bud Light sending out this decree saying everyone 21 or older along the parade route is going to get one free beer. All right, Philly hero Nick Foles, meanwhile, taking the annual Super Bowl MVP celebration to Disney World yesterday. He was the Grand Marshal of the Mickey Mouse Parade. Now, Foles is in a unique position that Super Bowl MVPs don't usually find themselves in. He's going to go back to being the backup quarterback when Carson Wentz returns next season, or he could even be traded. And Foles was asked what he thinks the future holds for him.
I can't wait to have more time to be a husband and a father. And do those things, go on walks, do all the little things. That's what I look forward to. And as it pertains to football, I love the city of Philadelphia. I was fortunate to come back and sign with the Eagles. I have no clue what my future holds, but I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to live in the present.
All right, the rough 24 hours for Rob Gronkowski got a little rougher when he returned home to find that he had reportedly been the victim of a burglary. According to Boston 25 News, police were called to Gronkowski's home in Foxborough after he returned home from the Super Bowl yesterday, and the police remained on site for hours. Now, police are expected to give more details on this investigation later on this morning. All right, finally, Dirk Nowitzki reaching the 50,000 career minute milestone last night, and the Mavs lost to the Clippers. He's just the 6th player ever to play that many minutes in the NBA. But get this, his jersey was misspelled last night. The Z and the K should be flipped there. Amazingly, Dirk also wore that jersey against the Kings on Saturday, and nobody noticed. But guys, Dirk...
I wonder if he knew. It's on his back. It's like...
Well, yeah, he didn't know either, but he has a good sense of humor about it. He said that misspelling basically sums up their season.
Yeah.
One of the worst teams in the NBA this year.
All right.
2 decades in the league, you'd think they'd get that right.
Andy Shiles, nice to see you, sir.
All right, the opening bell 4 hours away. U.S. futures now sliding again. Check it out. Global markets diving overnight as well. Those numbers just hard to conceptualize. Can the Dow bounce back after a record sell-off? New numbers ahead.
Oh, manatees, a.k.a. the sea cow. Oh, there's one.
Manatees in novelty teas? Surprising.
What's come at me, bro?
It's something you say to a friend.
What's not surprising? How much money Matt saved by switching to Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
No matter how the markets change, at T. Rowe Price, our disciplined approach remains. Global markets may be uncertain, but you can feel confident in our investment experience around the world. Call us or your advisor. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Lieutenant Ray speaking.
My name is Cedrica. About 4 years ago, a fire broke out in my apartment building, and you were the first responder who was able to pull me up out of it.
Oh my God, you kind of caught me off guard here.
I could see it in your face, like, he is not giving up for me. He is not giving up for me. And I appreciate that.
Good questions lead to good answers. Our advisors can help you find both. Talk to one today and see why we're bullish on the future. Yours.
It's Golden Corral's Prime Rib and Shrimp Spectacular. Slow roasted prime rib, butterfly shrimp, bone-in catfish, and more. It's time to saddle up. The Prime Rib and Shrimp Spectacular. Just $13.99 every night. Your choice rules.
This is something that I'm really passionate about. I really want to help.
I was on my way out of this life.
There are patients out there that don't have a lot of time.
Finally, it was like the sun rose again, and I was going to start fighting back now.
When those patients come to me and say, "You saved my life,"
my life was saved by a 2-week-old targeted therapy drug.
That's what really drives me to save lives.
Just because you're cooking at home doesn't mean you can't travel the globe. Plated is the meal kit for people who love food, and our flexible plans fit every table and schedule. Our diverse menus include 20 globally inspired, chef-designed recipes and 2 delicious desserts every week. Get everything you need to make amazing dinners delivered in one completely customized box. From pre-portioned high-quality ingredients to easy-to-follow recipe cards. Get 25% off your first 4 orders at plated.com/25x4.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not an injection or a cream. It's a pill that treats psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clear skin is achievable after just 4 months, with reduced redness, thickness, and scaliness of plaques. And the Otezla prescribing information has no requirement for routine lab monitoring. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Tell your doctor if these occur. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Other side effects include upper respiratory tract infection and headache. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
Very likely simply the ebb and flow of our stock markets.
The White House attempts to ease jitters after a record sell-off on Wall Street. The gains of 2018 vanish. Look at that remarkable split screen as the president touts the economy in Ohio. Right now, global investors, they are selling too.
The president's lawyer is reportedly concerned he could incriminate himself if he's interviewed by the Russia special counsel. Now they're trying to sway him against a sit-down with Robert Mueller.
Somebody said treasonous. I mean, yeah, I guess why not?
The president compares Democrats with people trying to overthrow the government, all because they wouldn't stand to applaud him during the State of the Union. Welcome back to Early Start. I'm Christine Romans.
I'm Dave Briggs. A wild ride yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
Now we are 4 hours away from the opening bell. Where are we headed? It should be interesting. Investor concerns not quieting. Not just yet. After Monday's epic sell-off on Wall Street, the Dow with its biggest single-day point loss ever. Overnight, markets abroad were jittery. Futures on Wall Street all over the place. Overnight, now sliding again. Our own Christine Romans has a look at what's behind this drop and how long it could last. Good morning, my friend.
All right, look, we're only 3.5 hours, or about 4 hours to the opening bell. So let's talk about what's happening right now around the world, because the world is reacting and the plunge is rippling. This is Asia. Big losses there. In Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai, all down. Europe opened lower just a couple of hours ago, now down about 2% each. So that's worsened. Europe has gotten a little worse in the past hour or so. And Dow futures are swinging widely. I've got the Dow now down 1%, about 260 points right now. It had been down as much as 700 points overnight, and then it had turned higher, Dave. So it's anybody's guess how this thing is going to open. Now, the Dow has lost more, 1,800 points, I think, over the past couple of days. Monday, brutal, a record 1,175 points. I can't even believe I'm saying that. 4.6%. That was actually a rebound. It had been down 1,600 points at the worst, the biggest point decline in history, the Dow's worst day in 6.5 years, and that wipes out all of the gains for the year. So what's going on here? You know, the big trigger here was a jobs report Friday, particularly strong wage growth. Wage inflation is something that's great for workers, but it's bad for corporate profits. If inflation picks up too fast, the Federal Reserve may need to raise interest rates faster than planned. And the biggest concern here, a sell-off in the bond market. The bond market is telling us something here. Bond yields move opposite to price. They hit a 4-year high Friday. As those yields go up, bonds offer better returns, making them much more attractive to investors than risky stocks. When bonds have a big move like this, it hurts the stock market. Now, even if stocks drop again today, This is not a crash. This is not a panic. Stocks haven't even hit a 10% drop or correction yet. And a correction is long overdue. Conditions are still good. The economy is strong. The market is robust. Corporate earnings are on the rise. So, ironically, the bond market is basically telling us the economy is so good it could overheat.
And that's why they coined the term Bondcano yesterday on Wall Street. Lucky to have Christine. Lucky to have Greg Valliere. He's the political economist, strategist for Horizon Investments. All right, Greg, what does this all mean, and where are we headed today?
Well, what it all means, Dave, is a great irony. The economy could overheat. That's what the bond market is telling us, as Christine just said. All the stimulus, tax cuts, deficits, synchronized global growth, really tight labor market, it's all contributing to a climate that makes the bond market worry about inflation. So where do we go from here? I think that maybe some bargain hunting could creep in later today. It's probably not going to be a pretty open. A lot of technical factors at play with program trading. But the main point for all of the viewers is the economy, as Christine said, is still very sound.
And the stock market has never in history gone so long without a 3% move one day or another until now. So this was a market that was moving higher and higher and higher and higher. You know, this sentiment, this pro-business sentiment, the animal spirits unleashed in the stock market. Are we going to get to a more, 10 years into an economic recovery now, are we going to get into a more normal set of circumstances, do you think?
I think so. And looking for some silver lining in all of this, Christine, I do think it'll make the Fed, the new chairman, first day on the job, welcome on board. So Jerome Powell, the new Fed chairman, I think may have to rethink his plans to raise rates aggressively. To see this kind of instability in the stock market may make him go a little slower. That's probably a good story.
It's difficult in this world to decouple what we're seeing in the markets with the man of the Oval Office, because the president has cheerleaded the Dow day after day, and it's still up 33% since Election Day. But if you get the gains, do you get the losses as well?
Well, two things I'd say. Number one, you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. And, if he claims credit for things, well, what happens when it goes down? Number two is I never could figure this out. Maybe most of Trump's supporters, Youngstown, Ohio, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, people who haven't done well, they hate the stock market. They hate Wall Street. And for Trump to be a champion of the markets, I think goes against some basic attitudes of his base.
Yesterday we heard him in Ohio. He was talking about the economy and seeming to take credit for some of these great numbers. Listen.
We've already created nearly 2.6 million jobs since the election. Unemployment claims have hit a 45-year low. This has been an incredible journey, but it's happening even faster. And wait till you see GDP over the next year or two. When I signed the tax cuts 6 weeks ago, it set off a tidal wave of good news that continues to grow every single day. Economists estimate that our business tax cut will raise the income of a typical family by an average of $4,000.
Greg, when other presidents, the prior president was having good jobs numbers, he didn't believe any of the numbers. He believes them. He believes them now. And yesterday should have been a good day for this White House. You had Melania Trump talking about opioids. This adorable picture holding this little girl. You had the president there talking to his base in Ohio. How does the stock market decline change what should have been a good day, really, for the administration and the message here?
Well, I think the market is starting to get worried that we're overdoing it. What did Mae West once say? Too much of a good thing is wonderful. Well, maybe too much of a good thing is not wonderful. You have more and more stimulus. He wants to get GDP growth up to 3 or 4%, which I think is impossible without more legal immigrants, which he opposes. But that aside, I think the markets are starting to worry that he wants to overdo it, get growth too high. You get growth too high, and the downside is much higher interest rates.
All right, Christine mentioned the day that may have been lost for the president. He's talking about the economy, about his tax cut plan. And then he says this about Democrats and what it means that they sat down during the State of the Union address and did not applaud when he cited record low black unemployment rate. Listen.
They would rather see Trump do badly, than our country do well. That's what it means. It's very selfish. Even on positive news, really positive news like that, they were like death and un-American. Un-American. Somebody said treasonous. Yeah, I guess why not? Can we call that treason? Why not? I mean, they certainly didn't seem to love our country very much.
Why don't you answer the question, Greg? Why not call it treason?
Yeah, I mean, he had a chance, guys, to build on what I thought was a pretty good State of the Union address. Talked about bipartisanship, looked like maybe he wanted to reach out. That's demolished now with rhetoric like this that we heard from him yesterday.
Treason refers to the crime of trying to overthrow your country's government or help its enemies during war. That's from Merriam-Webster's. Greg Valliere, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Nice to see you, Greg.
Yep.
All right, the president's lawyers urging him not to sit down for an interview with special counsel Robert Mueller. The New York Times reporting last night the president's attorneys are concerned he might incriminate himself by making false statements. CNN reported last week the Trump legal team is arguing the special counsel's office has not met what it considers the high threshold for a face-to-face interview with the president. He last said he's eager to speak with Mueller and willing to do it under oath.
This morning, the Democrats' memo pushing back against the Republican Nunes memo sits on President Trump's desk. The House Intelligence Committee voted unanimously to release the Democrats' rebuttal to GOP claims the FBI abused surveillance laws. The president now has 5 days to decide whether to declassify it. The Democrats are raising concerns that the president may play political games, though. More now from CNN's Pamela Brown at the White House.
Well, good morning, Christine and Dave. The House has now approved the Democrats' memo to come here to the White House, and now it is up to the president whether he will declassify it. It was truly a test of transparency, considering the justification for releasing the Nunes memo from the White House was transparency. And so it will be interesting to see how the White House handles this now that it has the Democrats' memo. A White House official says that the Democrats' memo will go through the exact same process as the Republicans' memo. It will be scrubbed. It will be reviewed by White House lawyers. But the question is, will there be any redactions? As you'll recall, there were no redactions on the Nunes memo from the White House. Now, Republicans on Capitol Hill said that's because they already made changes from the FBI's input before it ever came here to the White House. But Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat in the House Intelligence Committee, came out and said that he's concerned the White House will redact parts of the Democrats' memo for political purposes. So it remains to be seen what exactly will happen. But the president has 5 days to review the memo and make the decision on whether or not to declassify it. Back to you.
All right, Pamela Brown at the White House. Thank you. In less than 72 hours, the federal government runs out of money. House Republicans planning to vote today on another short-term spending bill that keeps everything running now through March 23rd. What a great way to run a country, right? The measure has a sweetener attached, 1 full year of defense funding. Republicans believe that gives them a chance to push the bill through without help from Democrats, but it has little chance of passing the Senate.
Also, immigration reform remains in flux. Senators are supposed to debate and vote on major immigration legislation for the first time in years, but Republican leader Mitch McConnell has been silent. Members of both parties say they have no idea what he's actually planning here, and the White House has rejected the latest bipartisan effort from Senators Chris Coons and John McCain to protect dreamers and improve infrastructure and technology at the border. So yes, dueling memos, and of course, no sight on how we're going to fund the government continuing resolutions. That's how we govern. Colorado's governor says enough is enough after the third fatal shooting of a police officer in 6 weeks. Now another widow and 7-year-old twins left in mourning.
What is style all about? I don't know.
Maybe something about personality? Creating your own environment?
It's just a way of being. Just being you, actually.
Once you find your own way of living, I think style is automatic.
Failure medicine. Don't take Entresto if pregnant. It can cause harm or death to an unborn baby. Don't take Entresto with an ACE inhibitor or aliskiren. If you've had angioedema while taking an ACE or ARB medicine, Don't take Entresto. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor about Entresto and help make more tomorrows possible.
This is my body of proof.
Proof of less joint pain.
And clear skin.
This is my body of proof that I can take on psoriatic arthritis.
With Humira.
Humira works by targeting and helping to block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to both joint and skin symptoms. It's proven to help relieve pain, stop further joint damage, and clear skin in many adults. Humira is the #1 prescribed biologic for psoriatic arthritis.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Want more proof? Ask your rheumatologist about Humira.
What's your body of proof?
A businessman consumed with power, a family obsessed with winning, and a dynasty destined for the presidency.
The Kennedys premieres Sunday, March 11th at 9 on CNN.
Do you have osteoarthritis in one or both knees? If you have osteoarthritis in one or both knees, are you on Medicare, Obamacare, or other health insurance? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a prescription strength solution for osteoarthritis of the knees, covered by Medicare at little to absolutely no cost to you. Our experienced staff will work with your doctor and handle all of your Medicare or insurance paperwork. Find out for free by calling the Back and Knee Pain Center.
Call 1-800-785-1378.
When I say Italy, what comes to mind?
Perillo Tours. Oh, Perillo Tours.
Hi, I'm Steve Perillo of Perillo Tours, and I personally approve every itinerary to ensure a stress-free, once-in-a-lifetime vacation.
I think of the culture.
There's so much to see. I really enjoyed Sorrento.
Being on a Perillo tour was better than anything I can remember ever on an anniversary.
Salute!
Call now for your free brochure, insider's guide, and free $100 gift card. Call 800-368-0256.
The Radical Story of Patty Hearst premieres Sunday at 9 on CNN.
Closed captioning brought to you by InventHelp. Call 1-800-900-0202.
Do you have an idea for an invention or new product? Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Then call InventHelp now for free information.
Let's get a check on CNN Money Stream this morning. There's one story. It's the stock market, a sell-off that isn't over yet. Global stocks jittery after Wall Street's epic plunge, down 8.5% from the high. And markets in Tokyo, Paris, London, Hong Kong, they are all down right now. U.S. futures, I can tell you, have been swinging wildly. Dow futures were down as much as 700 points overnight. Now they're down about 1%. Look, this was the Dow's biggest single point loss ever yesterday. It lost 1,175 points. For perspective, it's down about 8.5% from its all-time high. In terms of percentage declines, though, about 5% loss there, still not even in the top 20 of biggest percentage moves. So some perspective there. Lululemon's CEO has resigned after the company claims he fell short of its standards of conduct. Now, it did not specify how exactly he fell short, only that it expects all employees to exemplify the highest levels of integrity and respect. Lululemon did not respond to requests for further comment on this. Laurent Pondevin has run Lululemon since 2014. All right, Google's Waymo and Uber finally have their day in court, and the result could shape the future of self-driving cars. It's been 1 year since Waymo accused Uber of stealing autonomous vehicle technology. It claims that Uber cheated to get ahead in the self-driving car race. Uber denies this, says that's a conspiracy theory. The trial is expected to take 2 weeks.
Pennsylvania's congressional maps likely headed for a makeover. The U.S. Supreme Court rejecting a request from state Republicans. They wanted the justices to block a lower court ruling that ordered the state's congressional maps redrawn. Currently, Republicans hold 12 of Pennsylvania's 18 seats. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court earlier ruled Republicans illegally sought partisan advantage over Democrats in drawing the maps. GOP leaders say they may pursue further legal action. The ruling could have a significant impact on the 2018 midterm elections, where GOP control of the House is on the line. A candidate with a history of anti-Semitic statements and Holocaust denial, poised to represent the Republican Party in a race for a congressional seat in Illinois. Arthur Jones running unopposed in the March 20th GOP primary for Illinois' 3rd District. His website contains a section suggesting that, quote, there is no proof such a so-called Holocaust ever took place. The Illinois Republican Party has refused to back his candidacy. The Jones campaign did not immediately respond to CNN's request for comment. A sheriff's deputy has died and 3 other officers were wounded in a shooting Monday in Colorado Springs. Officials say they were trying to detain a car theft suspect when a struggle ensued and shots were fired. 34-year-old deputy Micah Flick was killed on what was his 11th anniversary with the sheriff's office. He's survived by his wife and 7-year-old twins. The suspect also died in the gunfire. The deputy is the 3rd Colorado officer to be shot and killed since New Year's Eve. Governor John Hickenlooper saying in a statement people must come together and say enough is enough. Actor Robert Wagner remains a person of interest in the 1981 death of his wife, actress Natalie Wood. Wagner has declined to speak with investigators since they reopened the case 7 years ago. And while he's not obligated to submit to an interview, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department does want to hear from him.
The version of events he's portrayed in the media, I think we told us the original investigators really don't add up to what we found.
CNN's calls to Wagner's representative were not immediately returned. Natalie Wood drowned in November 1981 while boating off of Southern California with Robert Wagner and their friend Christopher Walken. In 2012, the L.A. coroner changed Natalie Wood's cause of death from accidental to undetermined. The suspected drunk driver who killed Colts linebacker Edwin Jackson and another man early Sunday morning is a twice-deported, undocumented immigrant. Police say Manuel Orega Zavala, a citizen of Guatemala, is in the U.S. illegally after being deported in 2007 and again in 2009. Immigration officials say he was previously convicted of driving under the influence in Redwood City, California. Authorities say Jackson was a passenger for a ride-sharing operator. 54-year-old Jeffrey Monroe, both men were standing outside the vehicle when they were struck. Vice President Mike Pence says the world needs to hear the truth about North Korea, but won't close the door on a meeting at the Olympics. We're live in Pyeongchang next.
It's absolute confidence in 30,000 precision parts. Or it isn't. It's inspected by Mercedes-Benz factory-trained technicians. Or it isn't. It's backed by an unlimited mileage warranty. Or it isn't. For those who never settle, it's either Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned or it isn't. The Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned sales event now through February 28th, only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer.
This is the story of Green Mountain Coffee Roasters Dark Magic, told in the time it takes to brew your cup. First, we head to Vermont and go to our coffee shop and meet Dave. Hey. Why is Dark Magic so spellbindingly good, he asks? Let me show you. Let's go. So we climb, hike, see a bear. Whoa. Reach the top. Dave says Dark Magic is a bold blend of coffee with rich flavors of Uganda, Sumatra, Colombia, and other parts of South America. Like these mountains, each amazing on their own, but together, magical. All for a smoother tasting cup of coffee. Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, packed with goodness.
Some things are big, others are huge. It's Empire Today's half-price sale. Get $2,400 of flooring for $1,200, $5,200 for an amazing $2,600. That's half the price of your entire purchase. Shop for carpet, hardwood, tile, vinyl, and laminate right from home and have it professionally installed. Don't miss Empire's half-price sale. Schedule now.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today.
Next. Is your name really Crispy Bacon? Crispy Bacon.
Getting judged on your name is tough. At Overstock.com, our name makes people think we sell overstocked goods. But it's actually everything you see here. Overstock has beautiful new furniture and the latest in home trends, all at Overstock prices. So check us out and judge for yourself. This is nice.
Running a business is not for the faint of heart. Luckily, Office Depot Office Max is here to take care of you.
Taking care of business.
With print services. Done right, on time, guaranteed. expert tech support. And this week, all Office Depot brand paper is buy one, get one 50% off. Plus, never run out with an Office Depot paper subscription. Subscribe today at OfficeDepot.com/subscriptions.
Taking care of business.
Introducing
the never-before-seen
next level of innovation. Redesigned, reimagined, reborn, new, used,
certified pre-owned.
Ford, Toyota, Subaru,
Volkswagen,
Honda, GMC, featuring
backup camera,
EcoBoost, all-wheel drive, low miles, park assist, sport mode,
for wherever you
dream of going.
For drivers
everywhere, for the ride of your life, for the driven.
Shop all the cars, all in one place. Auto Trader. If you can't find your next car here, you won't find it anywhere.
A businessman consumed with power. A family obsessed with winning. And a dynasty destined for the presidency.
The Kennedys premieres Sunday, March 11th at 9 on CNN.
You know me as Nota Begay III, golf analyst for NBC Sports and Golf Channels and founder of the MB3 Foundation. But my favorite title is Champion for Kids' Health. I'm living my dream, and I want to make that possible for all children. We must give kids what they need to become teachers, artists, doctors, even golfers. But dreams can get lost if our kids aren't healthy. And right now in our country, 1 in 3 kids are obese. We must do better. Join me. Help all kids live healthy now so they can build healthy futures.
Welcome to Kabuto Hibachi Sushi and Lounge. We're open 7 days a week. Happy hour specials every day from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Come for the food. Stay for the fun. Lunch specials Monday through Friday from 11:30 to 2:30. For a special occasion or any occasion, Kabuto Hibachi Sushi and Lounge. 2650 DeKalb Pike, East Norton, Pennsylvania. Call 484-322-4138.
New day. The most news in the morning. Up next on CNN.
5:55 Eastern Time. Vice President Pence en route to Asia right now for the Winter Olympics. Overnight, the VP did not rule out a meeting with North Korean officials, but also says he plans to tell the truth about North Korea at every stop. Also, some new trouble for Olympic officials there. For the latest, let's bring in Ivan Watson, live in Pyeongchang, just about 8 p.m. there. Hello, Ivan.
Hi there, Dave. Vice President Pence has made it very clear that he wants to establish a counter-narrative when leading the U.S. delegation to the opening ceremony of the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, which will be taking place in just a few days here. He wants to, at every stop, highlight North Korea's human rights record. He's bringing along the father of the American University student, Otto Warmbier, who died after more than a year in custody in North Korea, and that he wants to make it clear that even if North Korea is cooperating by participating in the Olympics, that it does need to be isolated by the international community to make it give up its nuclear weapons. But he added that caveat, no, the U.S. has not asked for a meeting with the North Korean delegation here in Pyeongchang, but it's possible. We'll wait and see what happens if they happen to bump into each other in a stadium. In the meantime, the North Koreans are coming by the hundreds. Not only 22 athletes, but an orchestral group arrived by ferry. They were met by anti-North Korean, South Korean protesters who've been very active across South Korea. There's a Taekwondo demonstration team coming tomorrow with hundreds of cheerleaders as well. So the North Koreans will be out in force. There's been a hiccup to what is otherwise a very prepared Winter Olympics here. You know, all the buildings are finished, but there's been this sudden outbreak of norovirus, which has the ominous nickname winter vomiting bug. 41 people, security guards, coming down sick with sudden diarrhea and nausea. They've had to swap out 1,200, bring in 900 more, and then start scrubbing down and decontaminating buses and accommodations to make sure it doesn't spread through the Olympic venues. Dave.
That's just nasty. Ivan Watson live for us about 8 p.m. there in Pyeongchang. We also learned Ivanka Trump will attend the closing ceremonies. Philadelphia will honor the Super Bowl champion Eagles with the parade on Thursday. It's expected to start around 11 a.m. The Victory Parade route begins in South Philadelphia near Lincoln Financial Field and ends at the iconic Philadelphia Art Museum All Philadelphia school districts and administrative offices will be closed Thursday. Well done, the school superintendent, reminding students, though, that everyone should be in school on time and ready to learn on Friday. Fans across the country remembering veteran actor John Mahoney, who died Sunday. He's best known for playing the curmudgeonly and sharp-witted father in the classic comedy series Frasier.
I accidentally stain your carpet, and you set fire to the one thing in this apartment I care about, and heave it out into the street.
I tell you what, the healthiest thing you can do right now.
Want to know the healthiest thing you can do?
Shut my yap.
Bingo!
The actor starred on screen and on stage. Mahoney was an ensemble member of the Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago for 39 years. His publicist says he died following a brief illness. John Mahoney was 77 years old. All right, thanks for joining us. I'm Dave Briggs. Christine Romans has the latest on where the markets are heading in New Day, and a pair of Democrats, pair of Republicans discuss their dueling memos. Should be fun. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is CNN Breaking News.
All right, we want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. This is New Day. It is Tuesday, February 6th, 6 o'clock here in New York. Chris is off. This morning, John Berman joins me. Great to have you here.
Grab your wallets this morning.
Okay, will do. We begin with breaking news. Asian and European markets rattled by the steep losses on Wall Street. The Dow suffering its worst percentage decline in more than 6 years and the largest single-day point drop ever. U.S. markets have now erased this year's gains in just the past 2 days.
We've been watching all the numbers come in, and all signs point to a rocky day when U.S. markets open in just a few hours. One big question is, how will President Trump handle this? He bragged all over the markets when it was booming, taking credit for nearly every day of gains. He wanted to own the gains, so will he own the losses, especially if they continue today? Our Christine Romans joins us now with the very latest. What are we seeing this morning, Christine?
Well, we're seeing the stock market sell-off not over here. You've got global markets continuing the decline. The plunge really rippling around the world. Look at Asia here. Asia markets closed lower, a lot lower. Europe all lower. And Dow futures are swinging wildly, John. They fell as much as 700 points. Then they're down 100 points. And they're up 200. Then they're down again. So there's really no way to know what's going to happen at the opening bell. Now, the Dow has lost more than 1,800 points. 1,800 points over 2 days. That is brutal selling, shedding a record 1,175 points. That's 4.6%. It's the worst one-day point loss in history. But, guys, it's not even one of the top 20 percentage losses. 5% is a big percentage loss, but it's not even in the record books here. Now, the Dow is down about 8.5% from its most recent high. That's important. That's just within reach of what we call a market correction, a 10% drop. So what's going on here? A couple of things here. The trigger was actually the jobs report on Friday, particularly this, wage growth, 2.9%. Inflation is great for workers, but it's bad for corporate profits. And if inflation picks up too fast, the Federal Reserve may need to raise interest rates faster than planned. And all of this playing out in the bond market. The biggest concern here is this huge sell-off in the bond market. Bond yields move opposite to price, and they hit a 4-year high on Friday. As yields go up, bonds offer better returns, making them much more attractive to investors than risky stocks. Now, even if stocks drop again today, I want to be really careful about the language here. There's no chance of a crash or a panic here. Conditions are still good. The economy is strong. The job market is robust, and corporate earnings are on the rise. Ironically, it's the fact that the economy is so strong that's spooking bond market investors. They think it might be overheating.
I know. We're living in an upside-down world. And you've done a great job of explaining it. But the idea that people making more money is bad for the stock market is, you know, it's counterintuitive.
We have had no inflation in this economic expansion. We've had no inflation. And that's something that has worried economists. It's worried workers. But now it's coming back in. That wage inflation is starting to come back in. And the bond market, we've had low interest rates for so long. That period of low interest rates looks like it's over now. Interest rates are going more reasonable, back to normal, going up. And that's why you're seeing just all of this uncertainty happening in the stock market.
We haven't had to deal with inflation for a long, long time, but inflation can be a problem. You know, some inflation is okay. a lot of inflation, it hurts corporate profits,
Yep.
and it hurts consumers as well. And that's what you're seeing a little bit of the fear seep in here.
But just fear. I mean, this is just the very hint of new inflation. You know, inflation has bedeviled presidents, particularly in the mid-1970s. It destroys political careers. We haven't seen anything like it in a long time. The fact we're getting a glimmer of it, and we had that kind of reaction yesterday, I think is really destabilizing for markets, and particularly for Donald Trump. You live by the markets, you die by the markets.
We actually have some sound of him living by the markets right now. Again, it's unusual for a president to take so much credit in stock market gain, but this is President Trump. Let's listen.
The stock market has smashed one record after another, gaining $8 trillion and more in value in just this short period of time. The United States is doing fantastically well, better than we've done in decades. The stock markets are incredible. And you're seeing what's happening with the stock market. People are appreciating what we're doing. The stock market is way up again today, and we're setting a record literally all the time. And I'm telling you, we have a long way to go. And had the other side gotten in, the market would have gone down 50% from where it was.
There's a reason why presidents don't take credit or blame for what's happened in the stock market, because it can turn on them like a dime, and they don't really have control over the day-to-day stock market. In fact, I think presidents get too much credit and too much blame for the economy as well. But, you know, they campaign on it and they live on it. The president, in the jobs numbers, when they were really good a few years ago, he didn't believe them. You know, he said they were made up, and he said they were really 42% unemployment rate. Now he believes them and, in fact, takes credit for them. Will the tone change from the White House? I think you started to see that a little bit yesterday. You had Mike Pence, the vice president, say, these things ebb and flow, but we're really proud of the stock market gains we've seen. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders said it's the long-term health of the American economy and the foundation that's important. That's usually what presidents say. That's not what this president has ever said.
Right. And so, the law of unintended consequences always at play. And so the president often touts the tax cut plan that, he helped usher through, obviously. And so do we think that that's at work here? I mean, with all of the talk of people getting bonuses and what you just reported on the wage growth. So is this an unintended consequence?
There are signs to that. Alan Greenspan, former Fed chair, yesterday saying that, look, the tax cut may have overheated an already strong economy. The ballooning deficit and debt, a real problem, ends up fueling fears of inflation. So, yes, there is a chance that those tax cuts ended up creating the conditions for this. Probably won't hear the president take credit for that, though. I'm going to guess.
You know what? Republicans always talk about cutting deficits, right, and national debt. And the interesting thing is that you've got an economy that's roaring, and then you've got tax cuts that were rolled in there. When you want to talk about cutting deficits and cutting the national debt, you do that when the economy is roaring. In
other words, you shouldn't stimulate the economy when it's roaring.
I mean, we did need corporate tax reform. I mean, the corporate tax rate of 35% advertised was just stupid. I mean, and every CEO will tell you that. But this timing is what is something that is pretty interesting.
It's doubly ironic, too, because the president campaigned on taking care of Main Street more than Wall Street. But the Wall Street on record since his election has been extraordinary. So he's hung his hat on that. And at the same time, Republicans fell into line and abandoned concern about deficits and debts. That's a really toxic combination, folks.
Look, the deficit projection for the year is double for what it was last year. It's now $1 trillion for this year, $513 billion last year. Again, you don't usually stimulate an already hot economy. People think counterintuitively, well, how can an economy be too good? How?
How can an economy be too good is when it starts generating inflation, eating into corporate profits, slowing economic growth. This morning, Greg Valliere said something so interesting to me. He said that the president is talking about 3% and 4% and 5% GDP growth. And he said, unless we get more legal immigrants, we're not going to have workers to be able to generate that GDP growth. The biggest stumbling block in the American economy right now happens to be a lack of workers. And that's not something you're hearing about either. So there's a lot going on here that I think that are concerning investors.
I think Christine's floating. She's floating a grand bargain on immigration.
No!
Oh, probably not going to happen.
No.
But it should.
No, but I mean, it's such a great point. I mean, I think that is something that's ironic, and that's something that we really need to talk about. So for people watching out there, I know that you're, obviously suggesting everybody remain calm, cool, and collected. Right. What does it mean for people? If they're not in the stock market, does this mean anything to them?
In my experience, these are the worst times to be tweaking your 401k or buying or selling stocks, because chances are you're going to make a mistake. You are not. Who once told me, don't just stand there, do something. Well, on Wall Street, there's a phrase, don't just do something, stand there. Because you're probably going to make a mistake if you're buying or selling stocks right now. Make sure you know, if you're really close to retirement, you should not have everything in the stock market. If you're young, the younger you are, the more working years you have, you can be loaded up on stocks. Just make sure you have a good balance of everything. Know your asset allocation, your risk tolerance, and rebalance at least twice a year.
And fear is the worst counselor.
Yep.
In all things.
Yep.
All right, guys, don't go far. Again, we're watching these numbers come in all morning long, and things have been changing all over the place, so stay tuned. Now, our other top story. President Trump's lawyers reportedly want him to refuse an interview request from the special counsel Robert Mueller. The New York Times says that the president's lawyers are concerned he could get caught lying to investigators. This follows CNN reporting from last week that the presidents argue that the Mueller team has not met the threshold for a face-to-face interview. CNN's Abby Phillip live at the White House with the very latest. Abby.
Well, good morning, John. That Democratic memo, a sort of rebuttal of the Republican memo on the Russia investigation, is now in President Trump's hands. He has about 5 days to decide what to do with it, whether he will release it or redact it in some form or block it. And this, as we are now learning through some new reports, that the president and his legal team may not be on the same page about whether or not he should sit down with special counsel Robert Mueller. Lawyers for President Trump are urging him not to agree to an interview with special counsel Robert Mueller, partially out of concern that the president, who has a history of making false statements and contradicting himself, may incriminate himself with investigators, according to the New York Times. But Mr. Trump has insisted that he's eager to speak with Mueller.
There's been no collusion whatsoever. There's no obstruction whatsoever. And I'm looking forward to it. I have to say, subject to my lawyers and all of that, but I would love to do it.
CNN reported last week that Mr. Trump's attorneys are arguing that Mueller's team has not met the high threshold they believe is necessary to interview a president in person. The Russia probe hanging over the administration as the president decides whether or not to publicly release the Democratic memo unanimously approved by the House Intelligence Committee last night.
Do you support the release of the Democratic memo, President Trump?
The Democratic rebuttal challenges the accuracy of the declassified GOP memo crafted by committee chairman Devin Nunes that accuses the FBI of surveillance abuses.
We want to make sure that the White House does not redact our memo for political purposes, and obviously that's a deep concern.
The president attacking ranking member Democrat Adam Schiff ahead of Monday's vote, calling him one of the biggest liars and leakers in Washington, but praising Nunes as a great American hero. And during a speech in Ohio, Mr. Trump gloating about Nunes' memo, which he falsely claims vindicates him in the Russia investigation.
Oh, did we catch them in the act? They are very embarrassed. They never thought they were going to get caught. We caught them. We're like the great sleuth.
Democrat Mike Quigley continuing to press Nunes about whether his staff coordinated with the White